I have a feeling we're going to be getting really warm in here today. So if it gets to the point where it's like, we need some air, just speak up and I'll run back there and cool us down a little bit, okay? So those of you that were here last week with me, do you remember what I said our theme was going to be today? Yes? You guess so. I'm breaking away from some of my more serious topics. I was looking back at some of the recordings I've done lately, and I'm like, whoa, things are getting like serious, like lighten up a little bit. So, my boyfriend's birthday was over the weekend, and I don't know about you guys that are in the room, but I always find it very difficult to shop for men because they usually get what they need when they need it, and I don't know, it's just harder. So I like to give experiences, and so a couple months ago when I was thinking ahead, I was like, I gotta start thinking about Rob's birthday. What are we gonna do? And so I started kind of googling around like what's happening in Nashville, and he truly is the biggest Beatles fan I've ever met, and Ringo Starr was coming to the Ryman last week. So I was like, okay, that's what we gotta do. I paid way too much money for these tickets. But I was like, okay, it's a living Beatle, and there's only 2 left, and I've never seen Paul McCartney or Ringo Starr, and he doesn't really talk much about going to see Ringo Starr in concert, because he's going to see Paul McCartney, but Ringo, he didn't have many songs, there was like a handful of his songs. But I knew that it was kind of now or never kind of thing, because what is he, like 80? I don't know, but let me tell you, he was the youngest person on the stage, not by age, but looking at the vitality. He had so much energy and charisma, and the whole time he's doing this. His thing is peace and love, peace and love. And so the whole time he's singing, he's trying to get people to do this. And it was really amazing to see him get behind the drum kit, because I kept watching for some of the similar mannerisms. And he had that little beetle bop with his head. I was like, there it is! But when Ringo goes out on tour, he creates an all-star band. And so I'm probably not telling you anything you don't already know, but in case you don't, he gathers up different musicians from different bands, and it can be from different eras too. And then what they do is they put on this amazing concert where they're playing the hits of the other musicians that are playing the hits that they had in their bands. And then of course Ringo gets to sprinkle in, his Beatles songs. And I will admit, it was fun to see it at the Ryman, but it was a little cheesy. At times I was like, I went to her, I was like, I'm on a cruise ship or like Vegas or something, just because they had all the lights. And, but anyway, it was some members from Toto and some members from Men at Work, and of course Ringo. And they played all the hits, and it was so fun because it was like a big sing along, and it was one of those shows at the Ryman where everybody's standing the entire time. So I just thought it'd be fun to do like a Beatles practice today. So to tell you a little bit more, we all know who the Beatles are, and it's they're just legacies. Their music just lives on and on and on, and it's timeless. And we all know they started like as a pop group, but then as they matured and got a little bit older, and things started happening in the world that were a little bit more serious, they started wanting to talk about more serious subjects. And they also had quirky things as well. But I found this interesting. The Beatles were together before Ringo came into the picture, but after Ringo came into the picture, that band, it's hard to imagine with so much of the catalog of music that they have, but they were only together, the Fab Four, for 7 years and 7 months. And I'm a numerology person, and I love numbers, and I'm like, 7, 7, really, that's so cool. And 7 is a highly spiritual number. And I love that because I've talked to you guys before about the hidden messages of water and this Japanese scientist that studied the most polluted water on Earth and the most pure water on Earth. And the pure water was crystalline, gorgeous design. And then he played death metal music and it would get polluted and distorted and nasty, gnarly looking. But then the polluted water, he would play Beatles music and it would turn beautiful, crystalline, like snowflake looking. So there is something about their music that's uplifting, right? Even though scientific studies are showing that. It's not distorting body cells, it's actually creating some alignment internally. So anyway, so they were together 7 years, 7 months. And in 1966, George Harrison got interested in sitar. And so he traveled to India, and this is where it kind of ties in with yoga, because yoga's roots are from India. He traveled to India to study with Ravi Shankar. And then that's where he learned about the Indian scale and about all these other like cool exotic instruments. And he took it back to England to share with his friends, to share with his band. And then they became heavily influenced by this kind of exotic music that they were hearing. And then in 68, they decided they would all trek to India and go stay in Rishikesh. And in Rishikesh, it's like the yoga capital of the world. And there's a, gurus there, there's people that go for a spiritual pilgrimage there. And they went to stay with the Maharishi. And the Maharishi was someone who was over at that time transcendental meditation. Now, I have been introduced to a boatload of meditations, probably, I don't know, anywhere from 30 to 50 styles. I've never counted, but a lot. I've never been introduced to transcendental meditation because you have to have a teacher or a guru who sits with you, who meditates with you, and then gives you a particular mantra. And it's held secretive. And I don't know if the same guru gives the same mantra to every person or if he designs it or she designs it just for the individual. I'm not sure because I've never been introduced to it. But I do know it's kind of a secretive thing that you work with. And so that's why they went to India. And it became so influential and so impactful for them personally that, they carried it. They're still carrying it. I think I shared with you guys on Facebook recently, Paul McCartney teaching eye yoga. And I found it randomly on YouTube. I'm like, oh, this is so cool. Anyway, Paul talks about still doing yoga today. Now, granted, he got introduced to meditation and then learned about the practice later. But the Maharishi had this ashram there, and George Harrison kind of like paved the way for them all to go there. But Ringo had sensitive tummy. And he didn't, his stomach did not agree with the food and the spices and all the herbs and stuff. So he stayed a short 10 days and headed back to England. Paul McCartney stayed an extra kind of 2 weeks, and then he needed to deal with business matters and went back home. John and George were the ones that were really diving in. And they had taken their wives and their girlfriends, and they stayed another month until they caught air that the Maharishi was being a little inappropriate with the women. And that pissed John and George off, and they decided they're leaving with their women, and they kind of ruined the Maharishi's reputation after that. And they discovered that the Maharishi was trying to use their fame to kind of get more famous himself. So what I love about this story, though, is they realized also Maharishi's still a man, and people make mistakes. And so they didn't stop doing transcendental meditation. They just stopped their affiliation with this guru. They could see the benefit. They could notice how substantial the practice was. So they didn't let it go just because of another person's mistake. They held it and still held it. Even George, I want you to hear his last words. he passed away, what, 2009, I think, something like that. George Harrison's last words were, everything else can wait, but the search of God shouldn't wait. Please love one another. Isn't that beautiful? Now we can change that word God if you don't resonate with that term. You can say universe, you can say divine, you can say creative intelligence, you can say creative life force energy. So, take it as you will, but I'm going to be doing a breathwork meditation with you guys. That actually, funny enough, I led yesterday in a practice, and there was a gentleman in the back who's fairly new, and he stopped me after class, and he said, the breathwork you just did works with transcendental meditation. He said, when I lived in Minnesota, I used to do this meditation, and I have that secret mantra that I can't share with anyone. And we were talking about that piece of it. But I loved hearing that the breath work goes along with it, because like I said, I have no experience with it whatsoever. But you can see, like, even that time in India, they created a whole album, and then they had songs that spilled over into another album, and then they had also written personal songs that they ended up taking into their solo careers. So I'm going to ask you guys a question. Do you want to hear the Beatles during the practice, or would you rather hear something else? Beatles it is. I will say it was a little distracting to me as a teacher yesterday because, it's music that I'm familiar with. And you may have the same experience. I'm going to go ahead and play it today, but I want you to be aware of regular practices where you have like yoga-inspired music playing versus music that because you may not be as internal or focused because it's drawing you out. But that's okay, we'll just have some fun with it today. We are going to be moving today. And we did have a full moon over the weekend, so if you find that you're getting tired or whatever, take child's pose, lay on your back, I don't care, it's all good. But let's start with the breath work. So sit up on your bolster and then scoot right to the edge of the bolster. And then sit up nice and tall with your spine. Rest your palms down to your lap. Close your eyes. And at first, just acknowledge the air that's being pulled in and the breath that you're sending out. And then try to deepen the flow of the breath so that you're feeling up the lungs as you breathe in, and you're emptying them as you breathe out. And so this particular breath work we're going to do is going to create a still point or a pause at the top of the inhale and at the bottom of the exhale. If by chance this breath creates any anxiety for you, just breathe normally and you can listen. All right, let's begin. Take a deep breath in, and you're allowing God to approach you. Hold at the top and allow God to remain with you. Exhale and feel your approach to God. Hold at the bottom and surrender to God. Inhale and allow the divine to approach you. Hold and let the divine remain with you. Exhale, approach the divine. Hold and surrender to the divine. Inhale, allow the universe to approach you. Hold, let the universe remain with you. Breathe out, approach the universe. Hold and surrender to the universe. Inhale and allow source energy to approach you. Hold and let it remain with you. Breathe out and approach source energy. Hold and surrender to source energy. Inhale, allow the greater intelligence to approach you. Hold, allow it to remain with you. Breathe out and approach this intelligence. Hold and surrender to that intelligence. Keep that breath going, breathing in, finding that pause or still point. Breathing out, observing and honoring that still point. Again. You complete that breath work. We're going to open up the eyes, come away from our seats, and we're going to stand at the very top of the mat. When you come up to stand at the top of the mat, look down at your feet. Make sure they're side by side, separated for better balance, and spreading the toes. Allow your feet to get rooted down, to feel that texture of the mat beneath your feet. And let's create the salutation seal, hands to prayer. As you inhale, let your arms circle wide and overhead. You're going to clip a hold of your left wrist with your right hand. Push down through the left foot, extend long through the left side body, and sway over to the right. Remember, it's not how far you lean, it's about how you're extending and operating into this shape, and whether or not you can take some deep yogic breaths. Inhale, come back up to the top, swap your hand hold, lengthen through the right side of the body, pressing through the right foot, and sway over to your left. Opening up the side strips of the body, opening up your side ribs, breathing into that right lung. Inhale, return back to the top. And then as you exhale, swan dive forward and down to your Uttanasana, your standing forward fold. When you bow over and down, just kind of rock your weight forward a little bit. And then on your next inhale, slide your hands up your leg bones, lengthen out through the vertebrae. Look out with your eyes, shoulders draw back from the ears. And as you exhale, release back over and down. On your next in breath, let's step back. Downward facing dog. From our downward facing dog, grip the mat with your hands, slightly guiding them away from each other. Notice how it changes up the musculature through your arms. Keep pressing through the balls of the feet, sending your sit bones skyward. Head bowed between the arms, looking in that space between the big toes. Inhale, now lift high through your heels. Exhale, land down your knees right below your hips. Uncurl the toes and notice your hands are slightly beyond your shoulders. So walk them back so you have that precision of alignment. Good, from here, we're gonna inhale, drop the belly. Start to open up the heart and throat to Vittalasana. As you exhale, drop the tailbone, scooping through the belly. Arc through the shoulder blades and drop your chin to your chest. Mayurasana. And then let's flow with the breath here. Inhaling to cow. Exhaling to your cat. Continue that work. Bringing more mobility to the upper body, more flexibility to the spine, more strength to the core, and improving our bone density.
as we weight bear through the hands. All right, after your next cat stretch, come to a flat back. And then you're gonna rock forward into a modified up dog where your arms are like stilts, your pelvis is off the floor. And as you exhale, curl your toes and roll back slowly to Adho Mukha Svanasana, your downward facing dog. From downward facing dog, you get to determine how you want to land at the top of the mat. So you can meditationally walk forward. You can take a giant step with one and then follow with the other, or float. But we're coming halfway up on arrival. Ardha Uttanasana, exhale, bow down. Inhale all the way up to the top. Take a hold of that left wrist with your right hand. Lengthen and then curve over towards the windows. Inhale, build right back up. Swap hands. And then take it over to the left. Chandrasana, crescent moon. Inhale, return to the top. Exhale, swan dive forward and down to your Uttanasana. Inhale, halfway up and extend out. Exhale, let go. You can hear a little bit of that Indian influence in the song. Step back, down dog. Holding and breathing. Create a nice long diagonal line between your wrists and your hips. Open up the pit of the arms. Keep your low ribs kind of cinch again, and then lift through your heels again. Exhale, drop down to tabletop. Reposition your hands and knees. So again, you got the bones and joints stacking. Draw the navel in towards the spine without rounding your back. All right, once you have that belly really plugged in, you're gonna take your right leg back behind you. And if you lift the foot any higher than your hip, that belly's gonna collapse. Okay, so make sure that belly's hugging in. Your arms are nice and long and strong. Your right foot, the toes are turned down. You're pressing back through your heel. All right, now slowly stack and stand on your right hand, left shin. Take your left arm forward and out. You have an option to remain here or contract and curl in. Inhale, extend. Exhale, contract and pull in. Keep this going. Or hold it in stillness. It's a little tricky in this flow. Hold it once you extend out, and then land your left hand and your right knee. Evenly distribute the weight, both shins, both palms. Now lengthen your left leg back behind. Really flex through that ankle. Draw in through the belly. Gaze down towards your hands. And now send your right arm out, balancing on alternate limbs. And then begin to flow. Take your time. If you have developed that slow rhythmic breathing, try to maintain it and coordinate with slow rhythmic movements. And then inhale, reach out. Exhale, right hand down, left knee down. Inhale, rock forward. Urdhva Mukha Svanasana. Exhale, curl your toes. Rock and roll back to Adho Mukha Svanasana. Now this time in downward facing dog, I don't want you to be too wild with this. But just slowly nod your head up and down. Again, not too wild. All right, pause with the movement. Determine if you want to meditationally walk, take a giant step forward, or float the feet together. Coming halfway up. No rush. Exhale, bow out. Good, inhale all the way up. Clip a hold of that left wrist. Push down through the left foot, accentuate the left side body, and then pour to the right. And maybe see this time if you can cut in a little bit more, and then bring it right back up. Good, swap your hand holds. Push down through the right foot, lengthen out through the right side body, maybe go a little bit deeper this go round because we're not sustaining it. Inhale up. Good, exhale, forward fold. Inhale, halfway up. Exhale, lower back in. Notice the difference in your hamstrings already. Inhale, step back, downward facing dog. Now from Adho Mukha Svanasana, we're going to lift. Well, first of all, look at your feet. Bring them slightly closer so there's less of a gap in between, but they're not touching. All right, let's lift the right leg up and swing that foot through towards your hands. Lunge that knee when you get here, and then lower your back knee. If you already have some padding or a blanket, or if you need to provide it, I'll give you a moment there. If you know you want your blocks, gather the blocks. All right, here we go. Press down through your right foot, draw up through the pelvic floor. Back up so that your spine's becoming erect over the pelvis as your arms uplift. Exhale, the hands are gonna fan out as you spill back down. Inhale, we're gonna flex the right ankle, straighten the right leg. This is where you may need to walk the blocks back. Inhale, walking forward to the sole of the foot. Exhale, be here. Inhale, lift up as you press down to the right foot in the back shin. Good, exhale, let it go and sink in. Good, inhale, back the hips up, come to half split. Exhale, re-lunge the knee. Inhale, coming up. Exhale, bring it down. Inhale, back it up. Now this time, exhale, pour down a little bit more towards your leg. I think this is one of the most perfect songs ever, with the most perfect mantra ever. All right, let's come back to the sole of that right foot. We're gonna plant the palms, we're gonna tuck the back toes, and we're going to reset to downward facing dog. All right, make sure there's less of a gap between the big toes because we're lifting the left leg up. Exhale, swinging that foot forward and through between the hands. Lunge that knee. Stretch out through those thigh bones. And then sink the back knee, untuck the back foot. Yes, gather any padding that you need. Push down through the left foot, draw up to the pelvic floor with those bandhas for support. That will help to draw the energy up. Exhale, come back down, sink in. Good, inhale, straighten that front leg. Half Hanumanasana, your half splits. Exhale, re-lunge the knee, plant the foot. Inhale, build up, Anjaneyasana. Exhale, hands down, look down. Inhale, back up. Good, exhale, come back, down to the toes. Inhale, Anjaneyasana. This next one will hold that half split. Exhale, release. Inhale, stretch it back. And then exhale, we're gonna hold or we're going to lower. One of my favorite memories of teaching yoga was in the original Half Moon space over at Aspen Grove. The one that had all the pretty windows and the creek outside. And I was teaching a gentle class, and it was full of seniors. Come back to the sole of the foot. And the theme was about love. And at the very end of the class, I started to sing this song, and literally everybody was singing it. So fun. Curl the back toes, lift up that back knee. We're gonna step into plank. Exhale, rock forward, lower down, chaturanga dandasana. Inhale, rise to up dog. Exhale, rock and roll back. Downward facing dog. All right, let's everybody take a cleansing breath. Breathe in through your nose. Let it sigh out through your mouth. Determine, do you want to walk? Do you want to take that giant step? Or would you rather float the feet together? We'll meet at the top of the mat, Ardha Uttanasana. Exhale, decrease that gap and lower your heart. Inhale all the way up. Exhale, hands to prayer position. Pause for a moment, close your eyes. Affirming here. Salutations to the sun, to the awakening light within us all, and to the dawning of a higher state of consciousness in all beings. So what I loved also about the Beatles was after JFK's assassination, they'd come to, America to put on these concerts. Beatlemania was going nuts. And they realized, because of Beatlemania and all the screams, they couldn't even hear themselves play on stage. And they vowed at that point they wouldn't tour again. It was all about the music for them. Inhale, bring the arms up. Exhale, you're gonna wing your arms, push your hips forward, open up your heart center. Inhale, restructure, re-straighten your body, Urdhva Hastasana. And then exhale, cactus the arms and hang back. Beautiful, inhale, one more. And then think about all you need is love. Love is truly the highest vibration of all. Inhale, build it up. Good, exhale, bring your palms together and lower straight down the middle. Uttanasana. All right, on your next inhale, we're gonna step back. Down dog. From Adho Mukha Svanasana, we're gonna rock forward, shoulders over, hands to plank. It's okay if you need to modify and lower your knees, but try to rock forward regardless and lower down, 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 all the way to a prone position. Untuck your feet, bow down to your brow. Make sure your hands are under your chest or shoulders. Lengthen both legs, glue the feet to the floor. You're pushing the pubic bone down. Feel the firmness occur in your glutes. Start to roll the shoulders back. Press through your palms and either come to a baby cobra or a higher cobra, dependent on your back. Dependent on your experience and dependent on the now. Exhale, lower to your brow. Okay, we're gonna flow with breath. Inhale, rolling up, Bhujangasana. Exhale, down to the brow. All right, are your legs still active? Keep them active. Inhale, lifting up. All right, this time we're going to press back into extended child's pose. Try to keep your hands stationed as they are as you send your hips back towards your heels so that you're getting traction in your spine. The head may want to hover. Please don't force it to the floor. Inhale, back up. Exhale, down dog. Now, You don't have to lift your left leg up in order to step the foot through, but you can lift the foot up. But I would suggest keeping the hips square and even. Bring that left foot forward and up towards the hands. Give yourself a helping hand if need be. Offset your right foot, plant it down. Bring your hands up once the feet are stable. The front knee lunges. You're coming to warrior one. So warrior one, make sure you have a good bend in that front knee. Please don't force the hips to square if it's unsettling to your SI joints. But see if you can at least get your right shoulder to roll forward so the shoulders are more even if possible. Good, exhale, we're gonna take the arms behind the back. Bring your left arm first, your right arm underneath that. You can hold wrists, forearms, or elbows. Let the shoulders be driven down from the ears. You have a choice to stay here or an opportunity to hinge and to lower the shoulder and face to the inside of that front knee. Try to kind of tuck your left hip under as you hold this version of humble warrior. Inhale, coming up. Lift your arms overhead. Good, exhale. Bring the hands behind your back. Lace them up. Shoulders roll back. Heart opens. Good, exhale. See if you can hinge again. Just to the inside of the left knee. If you need to stay uplifted, stay there. Especially if you lose the work in your shoulders. Inhale, power down through the feet. Let that strength build you back up. Release your hands, bring them back overhead. Exhale, hands to the floor. Step back, down dog. From your Adho Mukha Svanasana, this is where you start to think about your body, your experience, your issues. Lately, I've been noticing one of my SI joints is not happy with centering the legs or downward scorpion. Okay, it's just a phase I'm going through, but lift the right leg. And if you don't want to upset the SI joint, this is where you keep the hips square. So you're not rolling or splitting the legs. If that doesn't bother you and you like that creation, then go ahead. Your practice. Step that foot forward. Offset your left foot. When it's down, build it up. Coming into warrior one, and I want you to pay attention to that front thigh. Now that you've got your footing, your stance, is that knee collapsing? If it is, turn open from the hip, roll open through your thigh so that knee is centered towards the middle of your foot. Exhale, bring the hands down, right arm first to the sacrum, left arm below that. Shoulders down, heart held high. You can stay here. This is a great place to be, or continue to power down through your back foot. So it's not all pouring towards the front foot, even though your upper body is descending. Scoop that right sit bone under your body. Maintain control of your breath. Inhale, pressurize the feet, slowly rise back up. Good, release your arms. Lift them overhead. Exhale, circle the arms behind the back. Good, release. Shoulders roll back. Chest opens. Again, this is a beautiful place to be. Or if you want to hinge, to humble the warrior again, do so with caution. Inhale, coming right back up. Separate your hands. Bring the energy up into the fingertips. Exhale, hands to the floor. All right, step back. Exhale, lower all the way down. Untuck the toes. Come to your brow. Clip your elbows in towards your side body. Engage your legs, engage your glutes. Inhale, Bhujangasana. How much freedom do you have in your back right now? Don't force it. Exhale, release. We want to stay mindful through this practice. Inhale, coming up. Good, exhale, release. Good, one more. Good, exhale, come on down. Now, lift up, press back, extended child's pose. This time, I'm gonna let you choose. Do you wanna just rest your elbows and forehead down? Or would you rather circle the arms around your body, slightly scoop in the belly, driving the forehead towards the knees just a smidge? So you're resting more at the hairline, creating more of a tear shape or X shape with your back. Firming here. I release now from all outer involvements into my own inner haven of peace. Peace and love. As Ringo would say, peace and love.
Plus, I'm happy to see Ringo Starr because my dog is named Ringo Starr.
I would not want him to know I named my dog after him. I don't know if he would take that as a compliment or as an insult. Inhale, stretch the arms out in front of you. Rock up hands and knees. Exhale, downward facing dog. All right, we've got at least one more sun sal after this. So you can determine here. Discerning what is best for you, walking, lunging, or floating the feet to the top of the mat. You can lift halfway or just stay down. Whatever pose you fancy. Inhale all the way up. All right, exhale, cactus the arms. Inhale up. All right, exhale, celebrate the sunshine. Feel as though it's coming down to your heart and the light of your heart is lifting up to meet it. Last one. Inhale up. Exhale, palms together and fold down the middle. In and halfway up. Out, drop back in. Inhale, step back to downward facing dog. All right, we're gonna lift the left leg up if you choose, or you can just step that foot forward. Offset your back foot, plant it down, bring it up, warrior one. Good, from warrior one, we're gonna open the arms, but notice how there's resistance. So we need to heel toe the right foot back a couple steps. Turn the right foot so the toes are facing Rihanna, who's being a good example. She was with me on retreat yesterday. We had a big weekend. Keep that front knee lunging and then open it out so you can see that big toe. Flip your left hand. Reverse the warrior. Exhale, side angle. Inhale, reverse the warrior. Exhale, side angle. You're gonna do one more of those flows. And then this is where you can determine, hey, do I want to just simply bind the right arm behind my back to roll open that right shoulder? Or maybe do I want to take the full bind with the left arm hooked up underneath the thigh? Yogi's choice there. Remember, if you hook the arm, you're straightening out through the spine, bringing that left shoulder back towards that left knee. Now, if you wanna hop around and do birds of paradise, this is your moment. If you'd rather do half moon, you're gonna unhook the arms. You're gonna take the left hand to the outside of that left foot. And you're gonna find some levity and lightness to balance and breathe. Now you can challenge your balance here. There's different ways to do that. As you exhale, if you're coming down from your birds of paradise, hop back around to side angle. If you're coming from half moon, you're lengthening the back leg, coming back to side angle. It's a little tricky though, isn't it? All right, let's bring the hands to frame the front foot. Let's spin off the back heel, step back plank. Exhale, lower down, down, all the way down. I told you it might get warm today. I usually don't do this much like standing stuff. All right, roll the shoulders back. Press down through the feet. Engage your buttocks. Cobra. Rising up fearlessly and deliberately. And then lower. 2 more, inhale. Exhale down. That was 2, right? Let's do 1 more, power 3. Exhale, release. Inhale, push through table. Exhale through extended child's pose. We're not holding the child's pose this time because we got that second side to do. Rock up. Exhale, down, dog. All right, here we go. Walk the feet a little closer together, especially if you want to lift that right leg first. Step that foot all the way to the front. Offset the left foot. Coming up, Virabhadrasana 1. So from that warrior position, we're going to slowly start to pivot. And then we need to heel toe the left foot back. Couple steps. Let your arms radiate to either side of the room. Really spin open through that front thigh bone. Flip your right hand open. Take it into reverse warrior. Good. Exhale to side angle. All right, inhale, coming back. Exhale, coming down. That was 2, right?
Yes.
Yes. Okay, 3. This time we're holding side angle and maybe doing the half binds. Now when you do that half bind, can you roll open through the belly chest? And then if you want to slink down and hook your right arm under, create the full bind, you can. And then if you want to move into birds of paradise, you can just hop that left foot around and round and round. And if you want to go to half moon, you're going to release that bind, use that block to step forward, or hop onto that right hand, pick up that left foot. That's going to be easier for you. Let me bring this block here. Okay. Oh, yeah. See if you can sustain it. Breathe into it. Nice, be cautious coming down. Keep lengthening that left leg back, back, back. Tip the foot down. Replace the elbow to the knee. Come back side angle, Pardipottanasana. Spin out. Plant your palms. Step it back. Bring your knees down. We're done with standing. All right, give us some water if you need it. You have it. All right, now it starts to get rocking when we're pulling down. All right, sit up. Feet lift. Navasana. Now you can have your hands holding your legs or your arms extended alongside, but try to transfer the work to your core as well as your hip flexors. All right, then we're gonna push the feet out and we're gonna scoop in the belly and we're gonna lower to the low back. We're staying lifted like a canoe, like a kayak. This is another form of our boat. Oh my goodness, they have, you know, like the, what do you call them? The pedal boats?
No long talks here.
So you know, like, what are they called? Paddle boats? They have paddle kayaks now. Have y'all seen those? No. All right. Yeah. Oh, are you trying to avoid poor work?
Yes.
Because I have that available today. We're gonna lift the feet. We're gonna lift the arms and fingertips. We're gonna scoop in the belly and lift. All right, if the work transfers to your neck, it really should be in your core. Your neck really should be free. Okay, but if it transfers to your neck and you don't know how to change that up, keep your head to the floor. All right, exhale, bend the knees. And feel free to lower the head back down. All right, feet fly up, arms fly up, and then see if you can lift. Exhale, bend the knees, and lower the head down. All right, 3 more. Two more. You can thank the Nolansville teacher I was with over the weekend for this one. All right, release your head down. Release your feet to the floor. Okay, I'm gonna give you options here. Because if you've been doing a lot of practices or a lot of back bends, or maybe your back is not, it's not wise for you to continue to do back bends, I don't know. If that's the case, you're gonna cross your left ankle over your right knee and pick up your right foot, and you're gonna hug in. And then you'll switch sides. But those of you wanting bridge pose, you're gonna join me in bridge with feet flat to the floor, arms beside you, palms face down. And then pressurize the feet, charge into your hamstrings and glutes to lift to Setu Bandhasana. See if you can hook the shoulders under the body, maybe lace the hands together. All right, those of you that have been in the half pigeon or eye of the needle, you're gonna reverse sides there. Those of you in bridge, you can either stay here and imagine you're squeezing a block down between your knees, or you can release your hands, slide your shoulders apart, flip your hands over the shoulders, and lift into wheel or upward bow, which is a little bit more dynamic. If you're in that wheel or upward bow, go ahead and buckle the arms, lengthen your neck, come down to the back of your head, slowly roll out. If you're in bridge, again, slowly start your roll out. All right, once you come down, bring your knees back in. Open your arms wide, let your knees roll left. This is my favorite George Harrison song. Obviously, India made an impact for this one. As he's singing the Maha Mantra, which is the Hare Krishna mantra. Just consider for a moment how Eastern philosophy and how this spiritual practice has impacted and influenced you, your life, your choices. maybe don't really get absorbed in the spirituality aspect, think about all the philosophy that you've adapted just for the practice. Because yoga is a very different form of exercise compared to, compared to other formats. All right, let's inhale, bring the knees up, and exhale, roll them to the opposite side. And maybe you've taken ahimsa to heart. Do no harm. Practice compassionate action. Maybe to you it's about being truthful, honest, holding integrity. Satya. Or any of the other number of things that we bring up in classes, including the power of the breath. Sorry, I was setting something up for after. Completely roll over to your right side. You're going to come up and form a seat sitting on your bolster. When you come up to sit, extend your vertebrae, close your eyes. We're going to move into that breath work that we did before. Breathing in, allowing God to approach us. For any verbiage you resonate with, hold, let it remain with you. Exhale, allow you to approach that presence. Hold and surrender to God. Breathing in, allowing the divine to come to you. Hold, maintain the connection. Exhale, send yourself to the divine. Hold and surrender into that space. Right, breathing in, allowing source energy to come to you. Hold and exhale. Move through. Pause and surrender to that source energy. Continue this.
once you complete your next round, draw your hands together, seal this practice. Prayer hands. So if or when you ever go to India, you'll discover that people greet each other with namaste. But namaste, even though it's used as a formal greeting, is still acknowledging that each of us has a soul. Each of us has the ability to hold, to express light and love from the heart. So the light within me honors and bows to the beautiful light within each of you. Let's go love one another.
Don't go yet. Sorry, I have to have a code on my phone now. Not so easy. Gotta have a little Ringo. Everybody get your peace sign up. Oh, let's get up. This is the Ringo thing when he's on stage. I mean, there's no like, this is it, you know? The drummer, I want that whole drill. Well, all we're doing it this way. It's really easy, anybody can do it. Peace and love, peace and love. Peace and love. So I'm gonna let you leave with this tune. And I hope the Beatles has brightened your day. Have a blessed.